Well, hello everyone. It's great memories of when Steve was suspended. Welcome back to the Australian Minifan Show. It's been a while, but we've expanded our reach. The Aussie fan base is growing, so I've got Aussie school, but we've got Jackson. That's it, from Melbourne. Welcome, Jackson.
How are we? How's it going?
Doing well. We're in lockdown in Sydney now. For those Americans watching and most of you have no idea about anything outside America, so I'm in Sydney, which is on the east coast of Australia. Sydney, Australia's sort of spiritual capital.
Yep.
And Jackson, where are you?
Down in sunny Melbourne, where we're also locked down. So I mean, Melbourne. It's been extended. Yeah, Melbourne. It's been extended for a little bit longer, but I don't know. We'll be.
So that's
I don't know. My work's still going, so like my life's still going fine. So we're still going along.
Good, but the two biggest cities now have KMS fans. Jamie, where are you?
Sutherland Shire, the glorious Shire of the south of Sydney. So, yep, in lockdown, just like you, man. But like Jackson said, still go to work every fucking
100
day.
cases, though. I mean, Jesus.
Less cases than they've had deaths in fucking Maine. Like, and we're locked down.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, Kirk is expanding. He's taking over Australia, Sydney, Melbourne, Sutherland Shire. It's all happening. But look, this is the first show since February. And the reason for that is because my co-host, Jamie, fucking started menopause on the show. Incredible. The first male to go through menopause. So look, I just want to go back to the crux of the matter. So I think what happened was you said something on the last show about Zonka, and then there was a little bit of blowback because of that, but not much. It was pretty mild, a little bit on the show. Maybe Kirk told you to die of cancer again, but
I mean, he does that all the fucking time.
Yeah, that's nothing new.
Coming up on Monday's show, it'll happen again.
And then what happened? Well, what happened? You just ditched the Aussie Minifan Show.
Yeah, like the world just stopped being fun. Like everyone was at each other's throats. So I look at it, you had the Steve's sycophants on one side and we at GVE on the other side, and it was just constant attacks between the two, and it just stopped being a fun world where we had mutual enemies to go after, like Murchison, the Globe, things like that. It just stopped being fun. Dan Lebertard, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. So I lost the Aussie stoolie, went back to my normal profile, and I don't know. I stopped listening for about a month, and then you find out Steve's leaving, Cullinane's getting the job. I'm back fucking in, and I only found that out by listening to Jerry's show, that Cullinane was in the running. So as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I'm back. Steve's gone. It's going to be good again. So, and I'm not wrong.
I remember it was around the time those GVE fuckers came up with their bracket, and
again
they put Zonka on the bracket, and then that was when Doxapalooza happened, and that was about the time you kind of went, nah, I'm out of here. So was it when Kirk and Steve started threatening Minifans with being doxed, you just went, fuck this?
I don't really like the whole doxing thing. Doesn't really affect me kind of down here. I don't really own my own business, so I can't really, lose my business. And I mean, if I did, I'd be fucked in Australia now anyway. It just became a toxic universe. The whole Zonka thing was shit. I think the last thing I did in the Miniverse was go on Kirkin off, and I think I dropped out before that show even aired. So I feel bad for Buddy and BMD and Augustus, but it just stopped being fun. Like the Miniverse from going back to the WEI days was fun. It was about putting shit on the globe, going after our mutual enemies, and then it turned into a Mincel versus Minifan civil war. Like the documentarians in the future will tell of those times, and it was not good times. And now it's fun again. Dave he loves the Minifans. He is one of us. Like Blind Mike, he's back as well, and it's just a less toxic environment with Steve gone.
Wow. Hallelujah. What did you think of Steve, Jackson?
I mean, I don't know. I think you guys just hate him, right? I mean, I actually like him. I didn't mind the politics coming into the show, but I mean, I don't really care what the show, like, I don't care what they talk about. For me, it's like, it's more about the energy. But I definitely have to agree that like Dave coming back, everyone's so like everything's so much more passionate now. Dave's the YouTube channel. I mean, the YouTube channel is incredible now. Like I listen to the show when I'm at work. And now I just come home and I watch it again. I mean, the effort that's been put into the show by Dave is way more than the effort. Well, not way more. I mean, Steve put in a lot of effort, but I think Dave is just way more. His heart's in it, like totally. So
he's more invested in the fans.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know what you were saying, Jamie, and it proved true that Steve was just actually bitter. He didn't like the show. He didn't like the Minifans
Yep.
of the Mint Cells, and that was coming out in the way he was treating them. And you know that time that you left was particularly fractious. And I think the Mint Cells bring a lot of it on themselves because they're dummies. But you can see with Cullinane, if something like that happens again, Cullinane's probably just going to ignore it. You know, he's
Yeah.
not going to do what Steve did and go after them.
Yeah, he won't take offense. He won't be soft. He'll just be like, not everyone's going to like you. Like, he tries to have everyone like him, but you can't. It never happens. No one has 100% like.
So you're back now, Jamie. Great to have you back. Are you enjoying the show again? You've got over your sensitive ways, like when Kirk says, like Kirk will say after this show, he hopes you die.
He's gonna, he'll wish brain cancer away. I thought he'll say something like, I thought he died, or he just won't acknowledge that we're back. Like, that's probably going to be the high road that he takes. But the brain cancer thing was kind of fun, to be honest. It's just, getting a mention. I've tried to call in many a times when he mentions you, Menez, and get like when he wanted you or VD to call in, I was trying to call in to
thank you.
Do a bit of a Menez impersonation, because I guess they'll just hear the accent and just assume that I'm you. So happens a lot. It's just good to be back. The world seems a hell of a lot less toxic.
It's good to have you back because, this Aussie Minifan show, it's Australia. If you take away the Americans, I mean, we are the most influential country on the Kirk Minifan show. Like the British Minifan does fuck all. I mean, what has he ever done? There's no other countries that have this sort of influence on the KMS show. We're trying to expand the show, and maybe one day, and look, pre-COVID, the whole point of the show was Minicon Sydney 2024. Obviously, COVID's put travel at sort of the back burner, but that's still the aim. A live Kirk Minifan show by the Harbour Bridge, then by the Yarra, so they can see the difference between Sydney and Melbourne. But yeah, good joke for this.
Do you think he wants big city though?
No.
Like, don't you think he wants to go in the middle of nowhere? I don't have anything off the top of my head right now, but
I've got a whole tour worked out, Jackson.
Warrnambool, Armadale,
Guy,
right.
Jackson, I want to do a Kirk Minifan show on Ayers Rock or Uluru, whatever you want to call it.
Like on the top.
Yeah, because I know they don't let people on there anymore, but I'm sure they'd make an exception for Podcast Jesus.
Surely.
Now, Jackson, let's find out your story, because I started to see your little Twitter handle, Jackson from Australia, sort of around this year, maybe. I'm not sure how. So tell me, how did you find KMS?
I mean, I maybe got like intensely into Twitter, like and actively as a Minifan, maybe I don't know, January, February. It's just addictive. I probably got into the show. I mean, maybe just after Sarko. There was no Blind Mike, so it would have been just after he left. Funnily enough, just the two of them when the show was probably at its lowest. I mean, I've gone back and listened to from the very start. Now I'm back in February, where again Steve just hates everyone and it's kind of miserable. But yeah, I got into probably around then. And it took me a while to get all the references, so I kept having to go back to old episodes and I listened, but I just enjoyed, like, I don't know, I listened to heaps of Joe Rogan's and I like the long form. But it's not so much him that's interesting. It's the other person, and I kind of seeked an everyday podcast that like I said, I don't care what they talk about, but as long as it's interesting. And then I found Kirk and I followed the story, and then like I said, I went back to the start, and it's just, I'm totally enraveled with it. I mean, I go to work, I listen to podcasts just all day, and it's just Kirk essentially. I mean, I'll listen to a little bit of something else, but totally addicted now. So yeah.
It's a great story. So were you listening to Barstool stuff and you just saw KMS?
Heaps of Barstool. Like part of my take, I mean, I love Big Cat. So the best of Barstool had like the Yak on there and stuff. I mean, I didn't have Sirius or anything, but so I got like the little bits of like Big Cat. But part of my take, I don't like segmenty shows aren't for me. So KFC radio's all right, but it's not so much. So yeah, it was a lot of just part of my take and stuff like that. But yeah, it was when.
So was that it?
Like, I don't know, I listen to a lot of music as well, but now I hardly get in my music. I try and get a little bit here and there, but it's all just podcasts now. I got to sleep with it on. So
did you just hear someone talking about Kirk on a Barstool show and that's why you tried it?
Well, I was just, all I wanted to listen to was podcasts. And so because I had the Barstool Radio and I'm on Google Podcasts. And so I click Barstool at the top and I go, all right, let's see what else is there. And I go through heaps of them. I mean, there's like $1 million worth of gamers stuff, which was, funny if that's your thing, which, I like it. But, I listened to a few of them and then I see Kirk Minahan. And I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, but whatever, I'll give it a crack. I see like 2-hour shows. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I'm like, what the hell is this? But I listened to a whole show and I kind of like his takes on stuff. I like, all those sorts of things. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just keep going. We'll see if I like it. And then, like I said, I didn't get references, so I'd go back, I'd, figure it out. And there we go.
So I often think for a new listener like you, Jackson, it's really hard because you've got all the references from KMS, and then there's the sort of the pre-KMS stuff that's come from EI and all that stuff. And now with Dave, there's a little bit more referring to the classic Minifan days. So what did you first think when you listened?
Well, I find it funny when like I try and show my friends like clips. And like a 10-minute clip takes 30 minutes because I gotta keep pausing and go, well, basically who this guy is this. And I mean, why he's significant is because Kirk did this, in February of 2020. And then I think the whole thing gets lost in the end. So I don't know, but it's a you need to dedicate yourself, but once you do, the payoffs are ridiculous.
Absolutely. You gotta just say, hey, here's a 2-week span of the Cullinane era. You just go to the Cullinane era and say the first Cullinane era and just go please listen to these shows. You'll understand everything because so many of the jokes come from that era, and it's the early days. So, and you'll get it from there because.
Well, that's what's so good about Cullinane now on the YouTube is the clips are so much better. Like they're in such better detail, so many more, and just having the show there. I don't know, because I'm such an addict. I remember exactly the times of when everything happens, and so if, I can go, all right, well, at 1 hour and 12 is exactly when Justin has phone sex with a guy. So here it is, and then. I think Cullinane's really, making it a lot better.
And Jackson, what about when you first sort of realized that, there was an Australian influence on the show?
Oh, Twitter. I mean, Twitter, like everyone's so engaged, and you especially, you too. And I mean, there's just heaps of loud noises from everywhere. I mean, my whole Twitter now is just Minifans, but I mean that's fine.
It can be totally annoying fine. Sometimes.
No, I love it.
You should get a burner.
I thought about it.
Yeah, it's a good plan. What do you think of Kirk, Jackson? Like, people are drawn to him for different reasons. I think a lot of older Minifans going back to EI. When he was on EI, he was very open about his mental health struggles. And when he was on the radio, both his parents died very close together. And, that story was told on the radio. And I think it drew people closer to him. But what do you think of him? What draws you to Kirk?
I think it's incredibly hard to find a podcast where someone is just going to say whatever the hell they want. Yeah. Like even people like Big Cat he's still going to curb what he says, and his jokes are, he's still trying to be a bit of a dad as opposed to just being with the boys. But I also love that he just brings chaos. I love the hate that he draws. I like that he pisses people off. I don't know, it's entertaining. I like it.
He's real.
Agent of chaos.
He's the realest you're going to get.
It's good.
Yeah, and I like Kirk's philosophy that the show, when it ends, doesn't end, that it should be a sort of always constantly a story. So, you're desperate for the next one because you want to hear them react to something, or, it's not like a normal podcast where, okay, it's done. And then it stops. It has a life of its own almost.
Well, the best example of that is I listened to from the start, but now I go back and listen to podcasts, from Cullinane era last time. I'm like, oh, I listened to this, but I didn't get that, because there's so much going on Twitter at the time, and if you're not following a Twitter in February of last year, you're not going to get the whole story because there's so much happening at the time. And Kirk on the show is just going to be like, oh, did you see this? And no, I didn't see it, so I didn't get it. So, I mean, the show is just 24/7. Like it takes over completely.
We add to that by being in a different time zone. So when Twitter's dead from the American side, it's our time, and all those people that don't go to sleep over there, they've got to carry it on.
Yeah, and then you wake up and you have to spend 45 minutes just catching up on everything on Twitter. Like you have to scroll for days. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, do not miss. And then the group chats. You jump in the group chats, and it's just 1,000 messages in 20 minutes, and you just if you miss out for too long, you just constantly, where did this happen? What happened? Who did that?
Yeah.
The miniverse is alive and well.
Any
Keep that
highlights,
going.
Jackson, for you in the show? Like, obviously, I love the Steve suspension episode, the Steve quitting episode.
Well, the death of Steve was probably the best episode. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Steve's, but just the death is the best. Any calls? I mean, to be honest, the best era was probably the 50 prank calls.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's coming back.
Would be
But,
nice. His birthday's coming up.
Yeah, like I won't forget. I replayed like 3 or 4 times when I can't remember who it was, called like American Samoa, and got that guy, and he got into to request some song. I don't know, but I just rewound it so many times. That era was the best. I don't know. We've had a drought for a little while, so this Cullinane era so far feels really good.
Oh yeah.
But again, I feel like I'm brown nosing him.
No, that's okay.
I'm a Cullinan guy, so we
we're
have
both
history.
Cullinan guys. And he's going to post this show for us, so we should be nice.
Yeah, well, exactly.
We should definitely be. Yep.
I love the Super Bowl week when they were in Miami. Was it? I thought that was a really good week of shows as well. Certainly now I'm back to a stage where, like you, Jackson, I want to listen to each show twice, and whether that's watching once on YouTube with the comments and then just listening to it another time. But when it was just Steve and Kirk, I actually stopped listening twice. Once was enough. But now it's riveting. It's hard to listen to anything else.
How do you think Dave feels about going to New York, for example? Like, how do you think a trip like that would go?
He'd love that.
Do you think, like, seriously, because I know everyone else hates it, but
he'd be in home. He's a Barstool boy. Yeah, he's a Barstool boy. He'd be like Kirk always jokes, he'd be rubbing shoulders with Big Cat and Kevin Clancy. And
so maybe that could be a good sort of trip in the future. I don't know.
I think
they have to go again soon. So.
Oh yeah.
When COVID's over, whenever that is, 2028, whatever. I think we'll see them go to New York more. But I think Cullinane's got to play this smart. He's got to bring Kirk and Barstool together, but he's got to do it slowly. Like we saw, if Cullinane's too enthusiastic,
Kelly Martin.
Yeah. Just tells him to fuck off. So
such an idiot.
I don't think there was a problem with that. I'm going to defend.
I think there was. I think that was so stupid. Like, how does he not know the history behind
He
that?
knows Kirk. Yeah, he knows Kirk. He knows what he's like. He hates Kelly Martin for no reason at all. But it's still there.
But why did he tell Kirk? Why didn't he just leave it? Like he doesn't tell Kirk every email he sends. I'm sure
he's out of match practice.
Yeah, I think he says a lot of things he probably shouldn't say.
Yes,
and he gets grilled for it on the show.
As soon as that came out of his mouth, the back of his mind's gone.
Definitely.
Jackson, do you have any favorite Minifans? Company excluded. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I like everyone. I mean, I think I get on well with VD. I think. I mean, I like everything he does, and again, he's also like he's an agent of chaos. I mean, he likes being disruptive and
the VGB.
I think it's great.
So, on Gathering of the Goats.
I like every time BCat tweets something good, you always see like a TJ Hubbard gif, which is a gif, which is pretty funny. So, but I mean, I don't know. Overall, I like following everyone. Everyone's pretty entertaining.
What about you, Ozzy Stooley? Any favorite Minifans for you at the moment?
Yeah, me and VD have bonded quite a lot over the Euros. Glory to England. It almost came home. Fuck Italy. Fuck BA. Dave from Hull, good friend of mine, I'd say.
Football fans.
Yeah. I guess John from Scranton's pretty cool. I enjoy his company.
What did you think of my hang up on Gathering of the Goats the other night?
I did not listen to it.
Oh,
so.
Can I bounce someone out?
I haven't caught up just yet. I'm doing an Audible on a book about the mafia, as recommended by Craig VGS. So it's fucking entertaining. I'm so glad he recommended it. But yeah, no, VD's definitely. I mean, I used to have animosity, but me and VD weren't on the same side during the Mincel Minifan war. But I think England's brought us together. Yeah, it's been a good thing because he's the leader of the VGB. He's one of the top Minifans going around. Causes controversy in the Miniverse every now and then. It's not a bad thing, but
good
as you do, Menace. So more controversy than anyone.
Definitely.
Jackson, are you a football fan, or are you a more American sports fan, or not?
Definitely, yeah. More. I've been watching the
Patriots
NBA. So I don't. I do. I'm not a Patriots fan. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, I like them. I kind of follow all the teams, but yeah. I don't know. I'm assuming you haven't followed the NBA whatsoever. You know.
Celtics got bumped out pretty early, so
Yeah, the Bucks won.
stopped counting. Yeah. Knocked out.
Yeah, it's been good. So
what about Minifan content, Jackson? Do you listen to Kirking Off or Montante's World, or do you watch the YouTube shows? Not that there are many at the moment. What
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't listen to a whole lot. I mean, I work a lot, and then
you
I
just
come
said
home
you
and,
listen to podcasts. You just said you listen to podcasts at work.
yeah, well,
But they're videos, but like it's hard to.
It's
I
a
won't
lot
be
of
upset
Kirk.
if you say you don't listen to Gathering of the Goats. It's fine.
I actually have watched a couple, but
Good
you know,
on you.
I didn't watch the last one, but
Kirking Off's pretty good.
Kirk and look, I follow them all. Like I'm subscribed, but yeah, I'd be lying if I said otherwise.
Okay, well, so you don't listen to it. Aussie Stawley, have you been listening to Montante's World or Kirking Off recently?
I always listen to the Kirk and Off. I like those guys. BMD is one of those iconic prank callers going back. Big fan of 90 Day Fiance. My girl Alison hosting that show. Legend.
They looked great the other night.
Always creepy.
They did. They look fantastic. I don't know what's going on with Robertson's B&B, but she is looking wow.
Alison always looks good to me. So, and yeah, Robinson's B&B. She's a guy. I still remember the very first like group Minifan chat we did where she popped into it and everyone was like, "Wait, huh? Is she in the right place?" But yeah, I was listening to Anal until Ned and LK sort of cut the branch away from Adam.
Did he? Ned got COVID. He's had COVID this week. Yeah, he was on Montante's World.
But he's in Florida, of course.
He's got COVID. His wife's got COVID.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That'll be fine. They're healthy people.
You should have heard Montante's World with Ned and Montante. It was like listening to two lunatics in an insane asylum. Like Montante is like 5 times more insane than Ned. So Ned seemed quite sane. And Montante was just going off with conspiracy theories. And I mean, the wildest stuff you've ever heard. Quite incredible.
I don't even know who this is. Yeah, I saw the Dave hype.
So this is one guy called Montante, and he started a podcast and he's got some Minifans on. I went on to help him out. And then he went on the YouTube network and look, he's just finding his way, Jackson. Wait, he asked some inappropriate questions to a young boy on a recent episode. He had a Lego Barstool on and he asked him fuck, marry, kill, like to a 16-year-old kid. And the Lego guy goes, "Oh man, there's people nearby." Like his parents are probably sitting there. And then Montante just drops in a pedophile joke at one point.
Of course he did.
Appropriate, yeah.
Lego Barstool being passed around to Minifans.
Good old DEC joke.
Look, it was a wild ride. Montante's crazy.
And if you don't know LK, the world's most handsome Minifan, bar none.
All right, I'll follow.
Yeah, so I would recommend Kirking Off, Jackson, as a good one. Going back to some old Minifan shows with DEC, really recommend that.
Yeah, I
the
like
original
DEC.
ones, man.
I know, like Kirk hates him or whatever.
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah,
Anti-DEC.
He's got a great voice.
Look, he did some good episodes on the Minifan show, so I would go back and listen to that. Also, Enough About Me, podcast.
I do follow that, yeah.
There's lots of great episodes there if you want to deep dive into Kirk.
I personally highly recommend. Very good show. Really, really good show.
I have listened to a few episodes.
Become part of the VGB, be the propaganda.
I get about 10 minutes to every Blind Mike project because I don't like podcasts.
I like Blind Mike.
I'm a Patreon.
Blind Mike too, but I don't like podcasts generally where it's just guys shooting the shit, like trying to be funny. It's just not for me.
It's the only place I get Channel Zero these days since they've gone off the Minifan network. So I got to get my fix once a month.
Actually, you know what would be good for you, Jackson? Go back. I'm telling you, you will love this. I'll send you a link when we're off to the Real KNC podcast, which was the reaction show that Ken and Curtis did.
I've actually listened to a couple of those. It has like intros to segments and stuff.
Yeah. I listened to the whole thing earlier this year as a re-listen, and it was fantastic. It was like going through all the best bits, and that'd fill in maybe some of the gaps in Minifan knowledge.
Yeah, the Gary Tangway stuff, the Mike Mutnansky, the Trenny Kazneric history, that fat piece of shit. Tomasi.
Yep.
Fucking hate that guy.
Yeah, so I'd recommend doing that one. I guess last one, I think we're running out of time on the Australian Minifan Show's return. Aussie Stoolie in from the cold. Jackson.
It's actually fucking cold.
Have you enjoyed it, Jackson?
Definitely, yeah.
Great. Thanks for coming on. I guess last one. What about this Julie DeCaro suing Justin?
What
what
fuck,
a
man?
gift from God for the Kirk Minahan show.
It's fucking. You go, bro.
It made for a good Mike Portnoy phone call, so I thought that was great.
If for anything else. But like, it's just as bad as that douchebag mayor. I can't remember his name right now, but it's just Curtatone. It's just as stupid of a case. Like, it's going to get thrown out as ridiculous. You know, I think they took the video down. That's what they were asked to do in the first place. So she's really got no argument now. So she's the gift that keeps on giving, man.
Yeah, I think Justin's the MVP of this year. He's done, like, obviously Kirk's the MVP, but if you take Kirk out of the votes, Justin has done so much this year. I mean,
Definitely.
Obviously sometimes he's misguided, sometimes he's a dummy. He doesn't get everything right.
Often.
That's true, but he tries. Like, he tries. He's loyal.
Yep.
He's multi-talented, security to producing.
His relationship with Dave is great. I mean, I don't really know that, but clearly, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a
great mates.
love-hate sort of thing. They don't really like each other, but they love each other at the same time. It's a good combination.
It's been good. And finally, what did you think of the Carabas v Menas VD feud? Just quick hot takes on that. Obviously, go on.
Yeah, I mean, Jared did a retweet, and the Miniverse made it seem like this huge thing, like he was going dead against you guys. I don't think he really cared, like he said, and you guys weren't that far out of line, so I got no issues with it.
Good. Jackson, who's team?
I don't really follow exactly what, you know.
All right, fine. Well, good.
Yeah.
I got one.
I love Carabas. I'm a big Carabas guy.
Oh, you're a big Carabas guy? Well, that's fair enough.
I'd like to. Once a week would be great, but I mean, I know he's busy and all.
It's baseball season, you know.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to hear a phone in, but it'd be great otherwise.
I was before he turned out to be a sensitive little pussy. What's your last point, Jamie?
So last time we did this show, I was in a bit of feud and rivalry and hatred with one Matt Carano.
Oh, yeah.
I would just like to say congratulations, Matt, on getting the Jerry job. I think he adds so much more to that show than Dave could, just purely because he's sort of aligned with Jerry politics-wise. And yeah, Olive Branch reaching out. I'm very happy you're on the Jerry Callahan show.
Oh, that's a nice positive way to finish. Finish. I agree that thinking about dinner. I agree that Carano's added a lot to that show. Do you ever listen to Jerry, Jackson?
I've been listening to him, you know, basically every episode recently. So.
Oh, right. Okay, good.
Yeah, but only basically since Carano's joined. You know, because they've been talking about it a lot. So.
I mean, Alice Shattuck was good, and so was Craig, but I think Matt suits Jerry with politics. Like, I think they're very much aligned and will stay the exact same stuff.
Your Cullinane would just like come in, say something kind of randomly stupid. And then whereas Carano has actually got something to add.
And he knows it.
Great stuff on the Aussie Minifan Show. Thanks so much, Jackson, for coming on.
No worries.
Jamie, welcome back.
Cheers, good to be back.
Viewers for watching The View from Down Under. You know, what other podcast has a Minifan show in Australia? It's incredible. So love you, Kirk. Bye-bye.